Thank you. So I have the privilege of going last, so I actually can reference other talks, which is great. So I wanted to start with that messy path that we just heard about of getting from art history to a career in software development after I graduate. So Jared mentioned a graph, and this is a bit of a different kind of graph. So it's made up of nodes and all these lines that connect it. And a part of the whole point of it is that you can actually, because it's undirected, there's no arrows, you can actually get from any point to any other point along it. And when I was doing this, when I was kind of mapping what had been the path of one major to another, I got really excited about all the connections between the different things I'd done. And I wanted to put all of those lines between them, but then I realized that would be too messy and you wouldn't be really seeing any of the nodes along the way. So please know that this is a different kind of graph. They're all connected. So I actually started, when I came to Brandeis, I started off thinking I was going to do politics. And then I took an art history class, or 10, and ended up doing that as a major. Along the way, I did all of those other little notes, the journalism, economics. I took a really amazing class in, it was a research seminar. We did work on John Singleton Copley. He's a painter who worked a lot in Boston. And we did an online exhibit for that class. And that really sparked me to just get excited about this and finally get to computer science, which is like I said, what I'll be doing after I graduate. So you might be thinking, how did this happen? It's kind of strange, kind of looks like she stumbled along the way a lot. And I have to tell you, because I'm a senior and I'm graduating, I've definitely been thinking about that a lot. I've been considering what got me down that path. And in those considerations, it kind of dawned on me that I'm neither the first nor the last person to go to college. And there's been a lot of great people who have gone down that path and have given me amazing advice that helped me actually find my way through that web. So, I'm really grateful to be here and to be able to speak to you because I would like to pay it forward and kind of share with you my experiences of that path. And maybe you can kind of find as hopefully, because to me this is a really rich path, as winding and as rich of a path. So the first piece of advice, one of the first pieces of advice that I got when I got to college was really bizarre, and I think most professors probably won't be a fan of it, but it was to actually not be afraid to skip the occasional class. I know, that sounds awful, right? Attendance is important, but sometimes when you're outside the classroom, even if it's the same lectures that you would have seen every day, on every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, you kind of see them in a different light when it's a once kind of experience. When you go to a lecture, okay, I got kind of lost in the little path. What I was saying is, when you skip class, don't sleep in or just be lazy. Go to a lecture, go to a different lecture, go to an event, go to something like this where you learn about experiential learning. And that can lead to some really interesting, fun connections. And I know that sounds really bizarre, so I just wanted to show you some examples. For example, a really strange connection for a lot of people is using software built to create 3D models and games, like something like a first-person shooter game, like this one, for example, and using it to create something in the arts. So here is an artwork from 1964 by a woman named Louise Nevelson. And here is actually using that software, it's called Blender, that we saw in the last slide, using it to recreate this sculpture and have a virtual model of it. So this is a rendering done on my computer. And I have to say that the person who's responsible for me learning about these tools is actually in the room, so thank you, Professor Hickey. These tools and kind of remixing these different tools that were invented for different purposes is something that we did in the Maker Lab. So we took this model and 3D printed it in 25 separate pieces. And there's another person from the Maker Lab who helped make this happen. So a lot about collaboration. I would have never been able to make those connections, go to those different classes and meet those different people if I hadn't sometimes skipped class. So this is another instance. This is just the virtual recreation of that whole space. Awesome, thank you for the cue. So this is something that we created also in the Maker Lab, and I just wanted to show you because it's kind of cool how you can harness all this energy created for video games, which people don't usually think of as something you can really use for academic purposes. We also, with my team of people from different disciplines for a class called Software Entrepreneurship, we created this app, which is called Exhibition Time Machine. And I won't talk about it too much because we're actually tabling, so come talk to us. We'd love to tell you about it. It does sound really hard, and it is really hard to abandon, the pursuit of just studying for that Orgo exam or doing those 5 problem sets that you have due for the sake of, going to some lecture that you don't know if it'll be good or not at all. It's taking a risk. And I am just advocating for taking that leap and choosing what to do with your time. Stop being wrapped up in the busyness like we heard just now, and take a different path that is, I know, and I know this, like I yelled out earlier. I was saying, oh my gosh, I'm doing a thesis, that's taking up all my time. That's what I'm busy with. And then I'm also doing this app. I'm definitely drowning in too much work. But at the same time, if, we don't take some of that time for ourselves to learn how, breaking down the gender binary, and how, taking a AAAS class will be really cool, or how art and science can be combined, we'll never come up with new ideas and solutions. So even though we face so much pressure to find the right job and to go to a good grad school, and it seems like the 5 problem sets are a priority because grades are so important, I hope that you can kind of see, or you can kind of trust me a little bit and take a risk that sometimes when you do take the time to do something else, you get a whole new tool set which can help you be better prepared to do better on your problem set or to do better on your tests. So that's really the way for me, or the way I've found to remix things and come up with new ideas and better solutions to old problems. So at the end of the day, I feel like one of the most valuable lessons I've learned at college has been what is diversity. And I don't mean that only as a buzzword that we should keep throwing around until we erase it into oblivion, because that's a danger when we keep throwing words around all the time. But I think that with diversity of academic ideas, of different fields coming together in the face of humans from all over the world, in all the richness that the human diversity, that the human experience implies, I think then we can come up with new ideas to some of those old problems that have plagued us for so long. So it isn't technology that will just magically make all of our problems go away. It's us coming together, figuring out how the technology that I'm using, the technology that is being developed by some huge corporation, can help us work on the problems that we've all talked about today. So that's at the core of what I hope to encourage every single person to do. So please take the time to go to lectures from all departments. Talk to your professors so they don't get mad when you skip class. And try out, take a risk and try it out, because we live in a world that is faced with a lot of challenges, and I think that the only way we can really come up with good new solutions is if we all come together. Thank you so much.